Hi, I'm Jessica, and when I'm not drinking all the coffee, watching Razorback sports, or hanging out with my family of boys, it's my passion to help elementary music teachers just like you find your unique teaching style. My goal with this podcast is to share helpful tips, strategies, and to give you the motivation you need to gain momentum in your teaching so you can continue being the music teacher rock star you already are. Y'all, I am so excited about my guest today. Elisa Jansen Jones is a music teacher, band director, public speaker, and the International Music Education Summit creator. She's been such an inspiration to me, and I know you'll get so much from her as well. Our stories are similar with how we're moms of 3 kids and have a heart and passion for serving other music teachers just like you. Also, she didn't have a musical mentor teacher when starting out, just like I did as well. Throughout our conversation, you'll gain so much insight into different mentorship opportunities that will help you even if you're just starting out as an elementary music teacher. Let's jump right in with my awesome guest, Elisa. This is Elisa Jansen Jones, and she is the podcaster, blogger, and book writer, and music summit creator. She does all the things: music teacher, band director. Am I missing anything?
I'm a mom.
Yes, I'll let you take it from there.
I'm a wife. I'm a mountain biker. I used to be a really strong triathlete. I think that probably sums it up.
Yeah, she does all the things, and she's amazing. And you can find her at theprofessionalmusiceducator.com. But now you said everything is housed on just elisajansen.com, right? And
yeah, I got tired of having to type out quite so many URLs. So I just created an online portfolio where you can access everything.
That's amazing. Well, my goal with this episode is to help any new elementary music teacher, or any elementary music teacher for that matter, just with strategies and ideas and support in your classroom, because a lot of times you feel like you don't know where to turn for help and you feel like you're frustrated and overwhelmed. And this episode especially, I'm really excited about, because we're going to talk about where you can find mentorship opportunities. Maybe you don't know where to turn for help, and maybe you don't know who to ask for help. And that, I've shared my experience before, and I know Elise is going to share her experience. It's exactly where I found myself. I didn't have really a mentor teacher who knew anything about music, and it was beyond frustrating. And so I'm going to let Elisa quickly explain what her mentorship experience was like when she first started teaching elementary music. Did you have a mentor teacher when you first started out?
I'm going to go ahead and say no. So I should back up. My dad is a music teacher, a band teacher to be specific,
awesome.
And some choir. And he taught for 40 something years. He's now he mentors student teachers. Actually, he's like a student teacher coach. So he, for a long time, especially when I was teaching instrumental music, especially band, he was always my go-to. But he never worked really in elementary. And I only took this job, I confess, because I needed a job because I was getting divorced, right? Okay. And it was better hours than the music store that gratefully, handed me a temporary job so I could move out. Anyway, so I was not planning on being at this job for very long, and I was not planning on enjoying it, but I ended up loving it and just adoring those kids. My big breakthrough moment was when I realized that every kid in my classroom was someone's whole world.
That's great.
And so they stopped being just like kids to me, and they were like, oh my, that is a person. Like, that is a really, because being a mom, you know how you feel about your own kids.
Oh, yeah.
It totally flipped it for me. So then I was hooked, right? Like, I really just get to play with little kids all day. I get to play with like, it's amazing. I get to do really fun songs. We get to play really fun instruments. My boss pretty much just gave me the directive, just do what is fun, because you're the reason why kids come to school. Okay, so back to mentorship. So I took this job. I knew nobody in my district. I'm not in the district because I'm at the private Catholic school. So I'm in the diocese. And there was only one other music teacher at my school who was a very, very, very old, experienced gentleman who taught band 3 classes a day on the other side of the school. So my mentors were actually my fellow teachers at that school. Fortunately, that year was a big turnover year for the school, so several of us were new, and I just made it my goal to be friends with the other teachers. They were the people who I would see. They were the people who knew the students. And so when I started having any kind of issues like behavior issues with a particular student, the first person I went to was their classroom teacher. And I know sometimes with elementary, there's some animosity between us and the classroom teachers, whose subject's more important and blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
it should never be that way. We're a team. It's not about me and the importance of music. It's not about them and the importance of math and their schedule and their needs versus our schedule and our needs. It's really a team effort. And so my first mentors really were those other teachers, and it was amazing. And then the
Yeah.
next step, do you want me to just go on?
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah.
So yeah, getting to know them was amazing. And of course, I first turned to the resources I had collected in college, but they're pretty old,
Yeah.
and I did not come from a very robust K-12 program. I was an instrumental emphasis major, actually, which coincidentally enough, I'm now good friends with several of the elementary music teachers in the area in the district, who were also all secondary instrumental ed
Oh,
teachers.
wow.
Yeah, so almost all of the elementary teachers that I now know and love, and we're all secondary instrumental, and we're all teaching K-5 music.
That's amazing. So you can definitely lean on each other for support, but little did you know that's how it would turn out, you know?
Yeah, it just totally. And so I could never I got in touch with. Okay, so backing up. So I first met some of the music teachers in the district because I was not in the realm of music at the time. I was in nonprofit. I was in trails. Actually, I was big into, again, mountain biking and stuff like that. So I was connected in that outdoor community and not
Mhm.
the music community. And so I was actually at an event because I was on the district foundation board and we were getting a big check, right? And they were giving it to us at this elementary school, and I ended up standing next to a teacher there, and I was like, "Oh, cool. What do you teach?" And he goes, "I teach music." I said, "Really? I'm a music teacher too." And he's like, "Where do you teach?" And I said, "Well, nowhere right now, blah blah blah." But I made this connection with him.
Yeah.
And that's the wonderful thing about music teachers is we do like instantly connect. I have never met another music teacher I don't just love and adore because we're amazing people.
Yeah.
Um, right? Have
Yeah,
you ever, I
totally.
mean, have you ever met a music teacher and you're like, "Yeah, I kind of like her."
Yeah.
You never have, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's super true. So anyway, so I met him, which was a good first step. And then I got my teaching job and so I emailed him and was like, "Hey, you're the only music teacher I know. Is there like a elementary music like meeting?" And they were like, "Yeah, there is, and you should come. And it's on Wednesdays during our early out period." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I don't have that because I'm at the Catholic school."
Oh gosh.
So that was kind of the first, at least they like invited me, which was really nice, right? So that was a couple years ago. And then I started playing in the community band, and that has changed my life because not only has it helped me renew my own musicianship, and then after playing in the band for a year, I became the new conductor and music director. But I got to know the other people in the band who, guess what they do?
Teach elementary music.
They're the other elementary music teachers in
Oh,
the
that's
district.
amazing.
And so
Yeah.
so now like my closest friends, Corey, who I sit next to and play French horn with, and Jamie and Daphna, and amazingly enough, I didn't have any music substitute teachers. Guess where I found them?
In the
In my
or
community
in the
band.
community band.
Yeah, and so and now I'm like obsessed with Little Kids Rock. Did I know about Little Kids Rock? No, it was those friends from community band. So that's kind of my story of mentorship. But do you know where I get my best mentors now?
Where?
This my podcast.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when I first started the podcast, I was like, okay, I need some guests. Who do I want to learn from?
Mhm.
And so a lot of the things that I still do in my classroom now, my classroom management was from Michael Linson in my episode on classroom management. I play ukulele and now have a classroom set of ukuleles thanks to like David Rao, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm,
like I could just go on and even you, the stuff that we talked about in your starting an elementary music program from
mhm.
scratch, like super solid stuff. So honestly, podcasts,
Yeah, it's
it's the
amazing.
way to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. So, when you started teaching and you said you learned a lot from just regular classroom teachers, that was my experience too. My mentor teacher was a third grade teacher. And at first I was frustrated because obviously she didn't know anything about music. And so I just kind of became resentful that year. Like, well, it's not fair. They didn't assign me anyone who knows anything about music. But then looking back now, I still pull from things she taught me, about classroom management, about the students in the school, about procedures. Even though she was teaching what she knew from a regular classroom, I still was like, well, I did apply a lot of that to my classroom without even realizing it. And then, like you said, later on, I started making connections with music teachers, as I was there a couple of years. So if there's a teacher starting out and they don't have any musical connections, would you just encourage them just to be patient, and it takes time, and to just really, like you said, gain value from the teachers in their school they know right now?
Oh, definitely. You have to look at it like our job really has three parts, okay?
Mhm.
There's the content, and that's what we're trained in college. That's what we've been trained in ever since we started in music in elementary school. We've been nurtured in it. That's the content. And that's the stuff that those other teachers in your school maybe don't know about. But then there's how to facilitate or how to get that content into the minds of your children, right? There's
Right.
the method of teaching. And that I guarantee those other teachers will know about. So, though your content might be different, the method can be the same.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and then the third thing is what I like to highlight in my podcast, which is facilitating the
Mhm.
content, like facilitating the yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, did you, along with the teachers, especially if it's someone new right out of college, were you able to still get advice and mentorship from your previous college professors? Did you notice yourself still shooting them emails every once in a while?
not my previous college professors because none of them had elementary music experience. But when I taught before, when I taught or band and orchestra, middle school band and orchestra, I had a lot of great resources because I did get to go to the district meetings, the district collaboration meetings. That was back when that was just a brand new concept. But
Mhm.
you know who I have turned to a lot was the teacher I student taught with.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're still good friends and I still tap into her, but yeah. I mean, a part of me too when I first took on this elementary thing, there was like a bit of ego to it, and I was like, well, I don't know if I want to ask for help because I am like such an amazing music teacher
Mhm.
that but you have to get over that pretty quickly to if
Oh,
you're
yeah.
going to have a quality mentorship opportunity, you have to be willing to be the mentoree,
Mhm.
mentee.
Yeah.
Minty?
Minty. How do you say it?
Okay.
Minty? You're saying.
I would much prefer to just be pepperminty all the
Yeah.
time.
That's just, why not? Minty. That's a word I wanna use. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I remember that. You go in as a first year teacher and you're already feeling like everybody knows I'm new. So you feel like you have something to prove. And so you feel like if you ask for help, then they're going to think you don't really know what you're doing. But little do they know, I mean, they do know, but maybe they just forgot or didn't realize everybody starts out as a first year teacher. So every teacher, whether they realize or not, has had to ask for help from somewhere. And so asking for help does not mean you are not qualified. It doesn't mean you're not, you know, a good teacher. It just means we all still, teachers that have been teaching 20 plus years still need advice and mentorship. And so I want to encourage first year teachers in, just to keep asking for help. You're always going to be learning and improving and changing up the way you teach. I mean, do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, totally. We have to be teachable as teachers. Otherwise, we get stagnant and that gets boring, not just to our students, but to us too. One other thing I wanted to bring up too was we covered in when you came on my podcast, we were talking about starting from scratch. The other teachers at your school are great mentors when it comes to the culture of the school. And I feel like a lot of the mistakes we make as first and even second year teachers is not fulfilling kind of the expectations of the school. So, perfect example, I teach at a Catholic school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the directives that my administration gave me at the beginning of my first year was, quote, get the Christmas program under control. Right.
Yeah.
And because it had just gotten
Yeah.
wildly out of control.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, we pare it down. I'm thinking I'm using all my efficiency tricks that I learned in my MBA program. And I was like, okay, we're not doing costumes. There's not going to be kindergartners dressed up as baby sheep. Like I heard a lot of feedback from the other teachers, right?
Right.
And I tried to learn that. I did not ask thoroughly enough though about what was important. And apparently one thing that was important was the real live baby Jesus.
Oh, goodness.
And so the feedback I got back was like, yeah, the kids sang okay. And yeah, da 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 da. But we really missed having Mary Joseph and a real baby. We used to always have a real baby Jesus, like a real live baby Jesus. And
No pressure.
yeah, like that was the feedback it wasn't like, wow, this was the best, most efficient musical program we've ever had. It was like, well, you didn't have a live baby Jesus. And I was like, yeah, I wish somebody had told me that.
Mhm.
Nobody told me that the thing that mattered was the baby Jesus,
Yeah.
you know? And so
Oh,
guess what I've done the subsequent 3 years?
have you had a real live
I have
baby?
had a freaking live baby Jesus.
That would make me so nervous. I'm like, please don't cry. If there's a diaper change needed, I don't know if I can handle that in the middle of a program, but
No, because the parents, when like they're the first lady I found, she like timed her pregnancy to have the baby
oh
Jesus,
my
right?
goodness.
It is
Wow.
an honor at my school to have the
Wow.
baby. Like that's the thing. The kid, well, he's third grade now, but back when he was a newborn, he was the baby Jesus. So
And the kid's like, oh, thanks, mom.
yeah, the irony would be if when they get to 8th grade that they get to then be Jesus in the Stations of the Cross when he's crucified.
Oh, okay. Well, it comes full circle.
I'm sorry.
No, that's so funny. It
yeah,
just shows you,
okay,
different schools.
different schools, different things. But to get back to the point is learn what's important in the culture of your school because that's ultimately going to help you be successful. And those other teachers, they're going to know that kind of stuff. So lean on them. And it also shows you're a team player. You're willing to go out of your way to learn from them, and that strokes their ego a little. And so the next time you need some help, you're going to get it.
Oh, that is so, so good. I mean, I feel like a lot of people, and this is going to be one of my next questions to you, is what does mentorship mean to you? Like, what is the word? When you think of mentorship, what does it mean? But I think what you just touched on is so good because I feel like when people describe a mentor teacher, you go into a school, they're like, we're assigning you a mentor teacher. You just view it as them helping you with your teaching and in your classroom. But every single school is different. And like you said, the dynamics of that school, like when I taught in an inner city school, I mean, hello, like I had some learning to do. And so walking me through that, they're like, no, you can't talk this way. You have to talk this way. You can't talk to the parents that way. They're not going to understand what you mean. I'm like, what do you mean? And then I realized quickly all the ins and outs and the ebbs and flows of each school, you have to learn what happens there too. And then communication and outside the school walls and even the car line. And these are little things I think that go along with it. A mentor, there's people there that'll mentor you, even from the janitor to the secretary. You're going to have mentors all over that school helping you with everything you need to know. So what does mentorship mean to you? I mean, is that about what you would think?
Yeah, no, I think you hit it right on the head. It's mentorship is someone of more experience helping you to be successful.
Ooh,
and that
good.
experience can be in classroom management, it could be in pedagogy, it could be in how the lunch line works, it could be in whether you need a live baby Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But mentorship is really just somebody of greater experience helping you to succeed, which is exactly what you are doing, Madam Domestic Musician.
Well, thank you. So I want to ask, okay, so let's say
Well, first of all, I want to say I think it's awesome now that there are online opportunities for mentorship, because I know when I was teaching, I mean, I had Google, but there was nothing else out there. So where can music teachers, do you think, find mentorship? You mentioned podcast, but where else online do you think there's a good place to find mentorship in the online world?
Well, your stuff
Mm-hmm.
is great. There are some great bloggers out there too who have really robust TPT stores who are very personable and willing to help you. They're willing to answer your Facebook messages. They're willing to answer your emails. There are some who are not. I'll be
Yeah.
just really blatant with you. They have big email lists. You probably sign up for them. You probably maybe see them at a conference, but they will not respond to your emails unless you pay them. They won't, answer your Facebook messages, but there are some who absolutely will. And you can find them in groups. They're usually the ones who will respond to questions. They're usually the ones who give really thoughtful, non-emotional answers. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I like Elizabeth Caldwell is
Mm-hmm.
a good one. And we already mentioned like David Rao.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
those,
Both of them are amazing.
yeah, they're amazing. And not only do they have amazing practical resources, but they're also very personable and very willing to step in and help you if you have any kind of problem. So find those bloggers that you love. You don't have to follow them all.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to find duplicate resources with a lot of people. So find the ones that you love and that you really connect with, and then follow those 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah,
Keep
that's
keep it
good.
simple.
Yeah.
And then, Facebook groups can sometimes be a blessing or a curse,
Mhm.
especially the ones where there's 30,000 people in the group. You're going to get 30,000 different opinions on a
Oh,
single subject.
yes, I
So
understand that.
no, seriously. I posted a simple question on there the other day. What is the one thing you would tell me to improve my conducting technique?
Oh, man,
And it's gotten 300 comments,
that's crazy.
which is amazing. I love that. I love the help. I would not have posted the question had I not needed the answer personally. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm. Oh,
that was
definitely.
legitimate question for
Yeah, yeah,
me,
yeah.
friends. Okay, somebody needs to improve her conducting post haste. Um, and it's me. Anyway, but if you can find like a smaller group that's kind of niche for the area that you need help in, like
Mhm.
there's a what is it? Google Suite or Google Tools for music teachers.
Ooh,
You want
that's
to
good.
implement Yeah, you want to implement Google stuff in your classroom. You want to learn those secrets and tips to help you be more efficient. Like get in that group,
Mhm.
right? If you're really into ORF, there's a great ORF group. There's I'm a general music teacher, which has done really great things. So find those groups and those Facebook pages that again really connect with you, give you what you need. And if you're in one and you feel like it's not serving you, it's not mentoring you, then get
Mhm.
out. You're
Yeah,
not going to miss anything. I think
yeah.
we're so afraid that we're going to miss something by not taking part in an opportunity when chances are good you're going to miss stuff that you don't need.
Mhm.
And so
That's good.
that's less of a big deal. And then of course professional development opportunities. I love attending conferences. I just went to Texas Music Educators a couple of weeks ago. Granted, I was there on business terms, and not just as an educator, but the sessions that I attended were fantastic, of course. And the networking opportunities that you have there are immense. If you can meet with some of these people you connect with in groups, it's awesome. I
Mhm.
met, and you know this about me with the conference that I do. Um, I have 40 plus presenters from literally across the globe.
Yes,
And I was able to meet like 5 of them live
that's
in person
amazing.
at TMEA. Yeah, I was super stoked. I'm like, "Shauna, oh my gosh, like I've known you for
Aw,
a year and a half and like we're meeting."
that's
You
so
know,
cool, yeah.
so professional development conferences, I of course have to give a plug for my own if that's
Yes,
okay.
no, I want you to, because it's
Um
amazing.
yeah, you presented last year and you're
Mhm.
presenting again this year, which
Mhm.
I'm super, super stoked about, which you can probably hear in my voice.
Yeah.
I can't stop smiling.
There's just
Um,
nothing online like it, honestly. And
yeah,
I want you to tell us more, but I mean, honestly, this is one of the greatest mentorship opportunities music teachers can get in the summer, especially. I mean, it's awesome.
yeah, I'm glad you feel that way. I love it because I didn't create ate it out of just a desire to create something. It's really needed.
Mhm.
I saw a need for music teachers like myself to get professional development, to get workshops, to get clinics, to get, all of this great information in one place like a conference, but without that massive expense of time and travel and effort and all of that. And then you get home from the conference and you're a little bit burned out just from the I mean, you're super stoked to like implement things, but it's so much you couldn't, like, you drink from the fire hose hard enough, and you end up with like this big stack of papers that you set in a filing cabinet. You never open it again, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
I mean, am I right?
Oh, totally. Stack
Okay.
upon papers upon papers.
So I just thought, well, how can we do this better? And being a podcaster, being an experienced webinar person, I thought we can do this online, and we can bring the professional development to the people. And so I set out to try and create something that was as much like the live conference experience as possible. So almost all the sessions are live, because like April Vargo's about to have a baby,
Mhm.
and I didn't want to cancel her session because she couldn't be live. Okay, so she's going to be live Q&A, but her session's going to be streamed anyway.
Hey,
Um,
it's okay.
yeah, but it's great because then, as you know, you can still connect with the people attending your session. They still get to answer questions, and the same people go to the same types of sessions. So you
Mhm.
get all your general music people who are going from session to session together, and they're introducing themselves, and then they start to recognize each other. And then we created this private Facebook group called the Teachers Lounge.
Yeah.
So then they start to see each other in there. They become friends on Facebook. And I've heard stories now, because last year was the first year. So we're in year 2, and people are still friends. They're
It's
still
awesome.
connecting based on
Yeah.
it. We had one presenter who gave out a prize, like a door prize at the end of her session. And the person was like super stoked to get it. And they exchanged like mailing addresses, and they lived, kid you not, 7 minutes away from each
Oh my
other.
gosh, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
it's so crazy cool. And so anyway, I could go on and on, but we're doing some really cool things this year that I don't want to take all your podcast time to talk
No,
about, but
no, you're fine.
we're doing virtual honor ensembles. So we're giving an opportunity to those marginalized populations who don't have the funding or parental support to go to an honor band or honor orchestra. We're giving
Mhm.
them a chance to experience something like that and to receive that kind of kudos
I love
and
that.
honor for their school without having to leave home. Like
Oh, I love that.
it's all virtual. So it's a really cool opportunity that we're just implementing this year. And then we have, of course, sessions like yours and mine, which are, you and I talking to the camera, and we have our little PowerPoint going on, which is still amazing information. We have lots of live demonstrations this year. We have 2 panel discussions where we'll have like, 3, 4, 5, 6 panelists on. One of them, and I haven't told anybody. Can I tell you?
Oh, it's exclusive to this podcast. I'm
Uh-huh.
excited.
It is. I haven't even said it on mine yet.
Oh, goodness.
But it's all the Global Teacher Prize finalists
Oh,
are
awesome.
on this panel.
That's so
So,
incredible.
and each one is from a different country.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I know, isn't that cool? And
That
then
is so cool.
we've got our keynote speaker who I'll be announcing next week. So yeah, it's just I love that I've created this platform and then just released it to the
Mhm.
world, and the way people are using it is just fantastic. So that's what I'm most proud of, is that I've just created, I'm just the facilitator, and
Mhm.
then it's people like you who get to be the actual mentors.
Oh, I love it. No, I mean, I just think that is just one of the best ways because, like I said earlier, it doesn't matter if you've just started teaching music or not. You're always going to need to be mentored. And I feel like every year of teaching, there's something new you need to learn or refresh your skills on. And so there's so many different presentations being presented that, you can gain insight from. And so
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
So anyway, that's a little bit about where I would go for mentorship if you
Yeah.
need it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's the exact reason I started the Elementary Music Teacher Academy, because it was the same thing. I saw a need. There's so many, and you and I were talking about this before we started recording. There's so many amazing curriculum out there, and people talking about what's the word I'm looking for? My brain is pedagogy. Good grief, you guys. But I just think being able to talk to music teachers and being able to help mentor them and being able to help give guidance and step-by-step help and how to teach is needed. And so I just think it's awesome that is offered. And these are great mentorship opportunities that people can find online. And I think that's incredible now that people can do that. They can find mentorship opportunities online where, even on social media, back in the day, that was not available. So before you go, I want to ask you, what is one piece of advice you wish someone had told you before you started teaching elementary music that you want to share with any other teacher? I know that's a hard one. It might take you a second to think about that. I don't know if I can come up with one piece of advice. That's hard.
I would say leave your ego at the door. It's not about you. It's not about what you know. It's about your students. It's about facilitating the learning. And 90% of the mistakes I've ever made were ego-based. So leave your ego at the door.
That's so good. So good. Well, Elisa, thank you so much for coming on. And you're actually my first podcast guest ever. So I'm so excited. And you guys, you got to check her out. I'm going to leave all of her links to check out her podcast and the Music Ed Summit and her website as well in the show notes. So be sure to check those out. And we really do appreciate you coming on today. And thank you so much. Is there anything you want to say in closing before we go?
No, just keep doing an amazing job. If you're listening to this and you're a music educator, you have one of the best jobs in the world. You really, really do. So just keep appreciating it every day.
Yeah, that's great advice. All right, you guys.
Thanks, Jessica.
Oh, of course. Thank you for coming on. All right, you guys have a great week, and we will be back again next week. All right, bye.
Thank you so much for listening in to the Elementary Music Teacher Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And while you're there, I would love for you to review the show and leave a rating on iTunes. To find out more about how I can help you gain momentum in your elementary music teaching career, head to thedomesticmusician.com, where you'll find free downloads, courses, the blog, and so much more. Continue teaching music and never doubt the impact you're making each and every day in the lives of your students.